All right, so today, let's talk about Microsoft Azure. Now, it's easy to think of the cloud as this, abstract thing floating out there. But I want you to think of it differently. Think of it like a massive box of digital Legos. And together, we're going to see how you can use these blocks to build an entire digital world right from the ground up. We're going to make this whole complex topic crystal clear.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with Azure's global footprint. Think of this as buying the land for our new digital city. Then, we'll draft the blueprint, planning out our digital estate. After that, we get to the fun part, firing up the core engines and laying the foundational roads and warehouses. And finally, we'll step back and see how this all works together. Let's jump right in.
First up, where in the world is Azure? Because the cloud isn't just floating in the ether. Nope. It's built on very real, very massive physical data centers, and where you place your stuff in the real world, that really, really matters.
And the scale here is just huge. Azure has a presence in over 60 regions all across the globe. What this means for you is that you can put your apps and your data super close to your users wherever they are. And that means less lag, better performance, and happier customers.
Okay, so what exactly is a region? Well, think of a region like choosing the country where you're going to build your city. And inside that region, you have these things called availability zones. Now, these are the real game changer. They're separate physical data centers, each with its own independent power, cooling, and networking. It's like having 3 different power grids for your city. If one goes out, no problem. The others are still running. This is the secret sauce to how Azure keeps your apps online even when things go wrong.
All right, we've got our plot of land. Now, before we just start throwing up buildings, it's time for a little city planning. We need a blueprint, a logical structure, because without one, things get messy, insecure, and your costs can just spiral out of control. A good plan is absolutely essential.
And here's the hierarchy Azure gives us to stay organized. Think of it like this. Way up at the top, you've got management groups. They're like the federal laws for your entire company. Under that, you have subscriptions, which are kind of like states or provinces, maybe one for marketing, one for R&D. Then we get to resource groups. These are the neighborhoods where a specific project or application lives. And finally, you have the resources themselves, the individual houses, stores, and factories.
Now this one, the resource group. This is the container you're going to be using every single day. The big idea here is that everything for one application, all its servers, its databases, its networking bits, it all lives inside one resource group. That means you can deploy it, manage it, and yes, even delete the entire app as a single unit. It's such a simple concept, but it's incredibly powerful for keeping things tidy.
So let's get to the most active part of our city, the compute services. These are the power plants, the factories, the engines that actually do the work. They run the code for everything from a tiny little website to a massive global application. This is where your ideas really come to life.
You've got a few main options for compute, and here's a great way to think about them. A virtual machine, or VM, gives you total control. It's like building your own house from scratch, but you're also the one who has to fix the plumbing and patch the roof. Then there's app service. This is like renting a fully serviced apartment. You don't worry about the building, you just move in and live your life. And containers? Containers are like super versatile, stackable Legos. They're perfect for building modern, portable apps that can scale up or down in an instant. Of course, no app is an island. It can't run without a place to keep its stuff and a way to talk to the rest of the world. So next up, let's look at the absolute foundation of our city, the warehouses and the roads. In other words, storage and networking.
Azure gives you different kinds of storage for different jobs. You've got Blob storage. That's your gigantic, cheap warehouse for things like images, videos, and backups. Disk storage is like the dedicated, high-speed storeroom you attach right to your VM factories. File storage is basically your shared office file cabinet in the cloud. And queue storage? That's the city's reliable postal service, passing messages between all the different parts of your application so they don't have to talk directly.
Now for networking, there are 2 concepts you absolutely have to know. First is the virtual network, or VNet. This is the secure private road system inside your Azure city. It keeps all your resources talking to each other and only each other. The VPN gateway, on the other hand, is the secure, armored bridge that connects your cloud city all the way back to your company's physical headquarters. It's what makes hybrid cloud a reality.
Okay, so we have our land, we have our city plan, we have our factories and our roads. The blueprint is done. But what happens when we move beyond the blueprint and try to build something really complex? Because using these pieces to solve real, messy, human-sized problems, well, that brings on a whole new set of challenges.
So you've learned the building blocks. You know what the tools are for. But is it always that easy? When you go from these simple concepts to building truly advanced applications, the answer is pretty much always no. It gets complicated.
And here's a perfect example. This is from a real developer over on Reddit. They were using Microsoft's own Copilot Studio, a service built on all these Azure tools, to make an AI assistant. They did everything by the book. They told the AI to only use official documents for its answers. And still, they had this problem of hallucination, where the AI would just make stuff up.
And that right there, that gets to the absolute heart of it. Azure gives you this incredible toolbox, but being a master isn't just about knowing what a hammer is for. It's about the art and the science of combining all those tools to solve these messy, real-world problems, like how to stop an AI from lying to you.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The basic building blocks of the cloud, compute, storage, networking, they're becoming pretty standard across the board. So what's the next big frontier? Is it about building even better, shinier services? Or is the real challenge mastering the intelligence we need to manage the incredible complexity we can now create with them? Thanks for watching.